Some of you have asked me, how can we design a logo or a brand? And so I'm going to get you going on a hidden image in a name. And you can use this for greeting cards or brands or whatever. Here's some famous brands that have hidden images in them. Goodwill brand has a lowercase g, but of course you can see this happy face because they're supposed to be helping people get jobs that wouldn't otherwise easily be able to get jobs. So you've got a happy face, but you also have this as a lowercase g, and the happy face hidden right here is a lowercase g of Goodwill. Then a lot of people know about the 31 flavors hidden inside of the BR for Baskin Robbins because they have 31 flavors. FedEx has a hidden arrow in between the E and the X to show that they have speed in delivery. Some people think that it says mom in the collar. They may not have done it on purpose, but it's kind of interesting because Dave Thomas wanted to kind of help orphans as one of his side. The guy who started Wendy's, is one of his side things is that he tries to help people who don't have families get families. So that's kind of a neat one. Whether or not they did it on purpose, we don't know. But Toblerone in here, it has a hidden bear, and it's because it's from Bern, Switzerland, which is the city of bears. The Atlanta Falcons, you can see that it's an F, and of course it's a falcon. Some people don't even notice the F. So, and then here it's supposed to represent a conductor with his stick, but it also is the letters for London Symphony Orchestra, but it also looks like a conductor holding up his conductor's baton. Inside Kisses, you've got the hidden kiss right in between the K and the I. You can see a kiss on its side. Beats has the B, of course, in their logo. And then you can see with the Pittsburgh Zoo, beneath the tree, you can see a gorilla's face on one side and a lion's face on the other. And you can see fish here and birds. And it's a really nice image where there's a hidden picture. This, you can tell it's all about praying for 15 minutes. So he's got a praying man. So depending on what the logo is about, what they're trying to sell or what they're trying to offer, that's what images you'll see. So you can also see in Tostitos brand, you've got people sharing chips and salsa there. Tour de France, it's a big bike race, so you see a bike in there. So Formula One gives you a sense of speed, and you've got a sound wave inside Sony. The Sony logo here has the letters of Viejo, but it has the digital because it's a 0 and a 1, which is the basis of all digital data, and then a sound wave right there. And so there's a lot of neat hidden pictures. Snooty Peacock, it kind of looks like a woman's face, but it also looks like a peacock, so it's kind of neat. There's a lot of logos that you can see hidden images. So in your design, we're going to hide an image inside of words. So we're going to be working with Photopea, and Photopea is a program where we can work with images. And we're going to make a logo just out of Word and some images embedded in it. So I'm going to teach you how to do that with Photopea. Next, we're going to go to New Project, and under New Project in Photopea, you press this button, New Project, and then you can, if you post on Instagram, you might just want to pick under Social Instagram. It just sets it at a size that works for you, and name it Logo, and hit Create. And you'll have a screen set up here. I'd like you to use the Type tool, which is right here on the lower side of your toolbar. So this on the left is your toolbar, and on your right, you will see your Layers panel. On the left, choose the T on the toolbar and choose for your color black. Choose a font, that is thick. So just for this particular project, we're going to use a thick font because we're going to put a shape in that font. So I'd like you to pick a thick looking font. So you pick your font, then set your size as all the way up, and then set your color, make sure it's at black. You're using the type tool and you just click on your screen and type either your name or your nickname or your brand. So I'm just going to make up a brand. Now, I'd like it to fill your screen without going off your screen. So you use the arrow tool. Make sure you have on this option of transform controls. Hold shift and make sure that your name fits all the way across. Next, we're going to find an image that kind of represents what your message is. So with the Pittsburgh Zoo, you saw that they had the faces of the gorilla and the lion. Here with Tostitos, they have people sharing chips and salsa because that's what they sell. San Diego Zoo, of course, or the Bronx Zoo, it looks like the skyline of the city of Bronx in the legs of the giraffes. So they're really selling that they've got nature in the city. So they have this meaning here. So I'd like you to find an image that kind of fits your meaning. So whenever I do a search, maybe because mine is called Vine Forest System, maybe I will, oh, here's another good example, by the way. Here's San Diego Airport, where they have an airplane cut out of the skyline for San Diego. So that's kind of a neat one. Xbox has it too. They've got an X cut out of something. So I'm going to be doing a search for black and white images. So when you do a search in Google, you go to images for your things. So I'm gonna look up a vine, and whenever I find a vine, then I'm going to choose. I'm sorry. When I go under images, then I'm going to choose black and white, and you'll see these options pop out when you hit tools. So if you don't see those options, you hit the tools button and then choose black and white. And find one that's a shape that you really like. Right, so I like part of this. I don't like the whole thing, but I like part of it. So I'm gonna grab this. To get an image, you can right click or alt click, and a dropout menu. And on the video, I noticed that in my videos, sometimes it doesn't show the dropout menu come out, but there is actually a gray dropout menu that comes out, and it says a whole bunch of options like open the link in a new tab, save image, but I want to choose copy image. So again, that's right click or alt click. Right click or alt click to get that to come out. Then you go to your document in Photopea, Control V. When you do that, that's pasting it. On mine, I only wanted part of it. You may not need to just get part of it, but I only wanted this part. So I'm going to highlight the part that I wanted, and I'm going to cut it away. The way I cut is pressing Control X. That takes it away. I can just throw away the rest of my layer. My layer panel has a little trash can at the bottom. So if I select the layer I want to throw away, I can just hit this and it's gone. So I press Control V to paste. Now I have my vines in here. So I want these vines to show up on top of my picture, but if I bring them in, you can see that there's all this white space and it covers up the letters. So I want to get rid of all that white in the background. So next step is I click on the picture with my arrow tool. and I press Command L. And what Command L does is it's going to make my whites whiter and my darks darker. Sometimes that's important if you have a watermark or something like that to really make your black stand out. So I'm going to drag my black slider a little to the right and my white slider a little to the left. Next, I go to the Magic Wand tool, which is a W right here. And I set the tolerance pretty high, like 50. So this number right here at the edge. I click on the black space and I hold Shift and I click on other black space within the image, making sure I've really just got the black space, not the white space around it. Control X, I cut it away. And then Control V, I paste it as its own new layer. So we can see when I go to try to move it with my arrow tool, if I try to move it, you can see there's a layer here that has the black vines, and then there's another layer underneath that has the white space. You can see it right there. So I'm gonna make that white space, I'm gonna delete it. So I just go here to the trash can, get rid of the white space. And next step, I'm gonna go to my vine and I want it to show up as white on top of my black background. So I'm gonna go in and make it white. So I press Command I, and what that does was invert the color. So now it's a white bunch of grapes. So intentionally, I want grapes to show up on my V for vine because then it's really expressing something that grows on a vine. I'm going to shrink it a little bit so that I can see more of my V and maybe, yeah, kind of like that. But I don't really like how I have a leaf in the way. So if there's part of your image that you want to get rid of, you can certainly do that. Now I'm going to make a copy of mine so that I still have the leaves and everything kind of off to the side. But on this one, this version that's up here on the V, I want it to not have that leaf. So I'm just going to go to a tool that I have right here. It's called the Eraser tool. I choose the Eraser tool and I get rid of whatever I don't want to have in that layer. Right, so now I have a name called Vine and Forest. So I want to have a tree here inside of the O. And because my image is really about having inside and outside, I'm going to look for a tree with roots, but I'll type in tree. And again, make sure you have tools set on and black and white. Sometimes there's an option of a silhouette that comes in handy sometimes. I see one here I like. I'm going to go Alt-click on it, copy image, come back into my design, and Control V. Once it's in there, I press Control L. I drag the slider for black up and for white down. And that gets rid of, in my case, it gets rid of some of the watermark that was showing up on my image before. I like that. And so now I'm going to get rid of the white space and keep the black space. So I use my Magic Wand tool. I click on the white space and I hold down Shift and try to get some of the in-between parts that it missed. I'm holding down Shift while clicking on some of the parts that did not select earlier. So I want to get rid of that white space. If there's any other parts that you see, you just go ahead and click and select the parts that are not already selected. All right, so from there, I can press delete. So again, I wanted to get the white space. You could also do the opposite. You could get the black space like we did last time. It really just depends on what's easier for you in this. I think in this particular image, it might have been easier if I had the black space. I don't know. But I started out showing you the white space, so I'll do that. And for me, it might be easiest for me to see what I selected and what I didn't if I make the other layers invisible. The purpose of making all the other layers invisible is that when I hit delete, you can see the white space disappear and you see the checkerboard pattern, and that checkerboard pattern really just means transparent. So when I make my other layers invisible, then I can see the checkerboard pattern left behind, and that shows me what I missed. And I'm just deleting the white space that I didn't want. All right, so that gives me that whole layer free from the white space. Control D to deselect, Control D. Now press Control I. Control I will invert the colors so that it just does the opposite. So when I did that, it showed up some black space that I had missed in between roots. So I can just click on that and delete it. I can see it really clearly now, and I couldn't see it before. So any parts you need to delete, go for it. Once you have your image white, then I'm going to bring back my layer that I could see before where I had my text. And I want to set this white picture onto that dark background of the text. So I'm going to just go in and shrink it down and put it right on my O for forest. So go ahead and you pick a place in your text where your image will show up well and position it right where you need it. When you are done, then you're going to go in and save it. You go File, Save as PSD, and then File, Export as a PNG. Now in my case, I have a whole lot of extra space, so before I actually save the PNG, I'm going to use this crop tool, and I'm going to make the size smaller so that I don't have all this empty space down. To cut off any extra space that you don't need, you use the crop tool, which is the 5th one down, and you draw a box around what you want to keep. Then you press Enter or Return, and it cuts out all the extra space in your design. Then you go File, Export as PNG, and then you hit Save. Once you've got your PNG saved, you can then go into your document where you would like to put it. So remember, each time we do a project, you can put it into your Google document and insert it by going to Insert button, Image. You can upload it from your computer or choose it from your drive. Mine happens to be saved on my computer. And you choose it. It would be called whatever the name of your document is, .png. And then you give it a title. So the title in this case would be logo for, and in this case, Vine Forest System, whatever nickname or company name you would want to come up with. Digital imaging using Photopea, and your name and the date. If you happen to be using slides for your image collection for your portfolio, you can also go Insert Image, or you can hit Insert Image by hitting this button. This button is also available under Chrome under Google Docs for inserting images. It just looks like a box with a little mountain inside. So that's another way of inserting your image. Just make sure you have a label and then turn it in.